Okay, so let's start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Let's maybe wait another few seconds so the people can join. I think we saw on LinkedIn that we have over 700 registered people. So quite a few. We are very happy about this. And I would say so. Let's go. So yeah, as said, welcome to our webinar today with the topic Project Management in Microsoft Teams. And we would like to show to you our solution, PlainPPM, which is based on Microsoft 365 standard technology. Before we jump into the topic itself, a brief introduction from our side. So my name is Adrian Adam. I'm working in the field of project management for 20 years now with a main focus on the question, how can technology best support us in our daily project management life? So, and Christoph?
Hello, great to be here. My name is Christoph Dahlem. I also have a long year experience in the field of project management, and my focus lies on requirements engineering and solution design.
Good. So we planned the webinar today for 45 minutes, so started at 3 p.m. Central European time. We try to leave some room at the end for questions, but you can always ask questions in the Q&A feature that you can find on the top of your Teams client. So whenever you want, please feel free to send questions. Latest at the very end of the webinar, we try to answer them all. Also, we are recording the session, but all of you stay, let's say, anonymous, as no information will be visible on the video itself. Then the slides that we are using here, also including screenshots, will be sent to all of you afterwards, after our webinar has finished. So by end of today, you should have it. And yeah. So that's it. Let's go one step further. So a few words about us as a company. DACS, we are a full service provider in the field of project management, a consulting company serving our clients with regard to project management improvements. And we are based in Zurich in Switzerland. And especially for today, important that we are always aware, very close to the question, as mentioned, how technology can best serve the project management. And for this, we are focusing on Microsoft technology. We are a long-standing certified Microsoft partner, and here especially with the focus on the cloud stack from Microsoft. So then let's go to PlainPPM, and I hand over to Christoph.
Thanks, Adrian. So let's come to our key topic for today, our enterprise project management solution called PlainPPM. And before we go into the live demo, I would like to provide some context, and I'm going to provide some context from a technology as well as from a business perspective. So let's jump right in. Since we are getting more and more used to work remotely on shared deliverables, our solution is optimized for being integrated in Microsoft Teams. It can be used outside as well, but it's optimized for being used in MS Teams. And the solution itself uses Microsoft standards from the Microsoft Power Platform, namely Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI. And for the project scheduling, we use the new Planner Premium, formerly known as Project for the Web. The advantage of using or sticking to standards is that we are release-proof. Basically, you could build the solution yourself, and it gives you the freedom to manage the solution, to operate the solution yourself, and to extend it in the way you wish to do it for your organization and to make it fit to your organizational needs. So, some more information regarding the technology. Power Apps follows the low-code philosophy. So basically, think of it, or I think of it, as a pile of Lego bricks with which you can build any use case. And in our case, to make it interesting for you and for our customers, we try to scale it. So basically, that means a lot of standardization. So we have standard views, standard side panes, standard processes, standard reports, and a standard backend, and all integrated in MS Teams. So if you want to, for example, to have an additional view, we don't need to design it. We just provide you an additional empty view, and you can fill it yourself with all the data that you chose to make available in PlainPPM. Okay. So switch the perspective. Let's go from technology to business. With PlainPPM, of course we want to use our best practices and our experience from the prior 20 years of experience. And the biggest or the single most important aspect is the focus on the user and the user requirements. So basically, we want to make the solution PlainPPM very simple, very intuitive. So it should follow the end-to-end project lifecycle, but in a very easy to follow manner. And we want basically our best practice is the mobile app. We don't need training to start using those apps. We just open it up and start working with it. And that's the way how we want to work with PlainPPM. The second aspect is collaboration. I already mentioned MS Teams is here the solution at hand. And I just want to mention that we don't interfere with the way you use your MS Teams. We just add a project management perspective on 2 layers, on a multi-project and a single project layer. And the third aspect is with regard to decision making. So basically, of course, management wants to have the best-in-class reporting as a foundation for the decision making. For example, to approve or reject ideas, or to keep track and steer the project portfolio. But we are very interested in keeping the solution light, meaning that we don't want the project managers to get too many administrative tasks within PlainPPM. So that's how we see the PM world. Okay. Last but not least, before we jump into the live demo, here you see a couple of roles. PlainPPM is an enterprise tool, meaning we have different roles and perspectives using the same environment, the same tool. And the most important are the line manager, who want to best allocate their resources, their team members, onto the various projects. Then we have management and PMO, who want to be able to make good decisions and to get transparency and an overview over the project inventory. We have the project managers who are responsible for the respective projects. And finally, the project team members, the experts who really create the project deliverables for each and every project. Just so that you are aware, we're going to show you now a trial version of PlainPPM. So basically, it's very open, and we're going to tell you when we change perspectives throughout the demo. Okay. I would say, let's go.
Okay, so we are now in the application itself. So what you see on the screen is PlainPPM. It's embedded in Microsoft Teams client. On the left-hand side, what we normally do is that in the main navigation of Microsoft Teams, we put the button to easily navigate and start up PlainPPM. Then once the application is started, we see already that it's here started into the idea module. Maybe we can briefly switch to English language. We have it in multi-language, makes sense to have it in English for today. You see on the left-hand side in PlainPPM the main navigation. From here you can navigate to the ideas module, to the projects module, everything related to resources, and so on. Then, depending on where you are in the module, or which module you are, you have a secondary navigation at the top, from where you can jump into the list of ideas, for example, or can open up the report of the ideas. We see in the main screen right now the list of all the ideas which are stored on the system. This list is fully flexible, can be customized, and you can even choose between different views that you can use. So depending on what you are interested in most when it comes to the idea management here in this case. You can filter, you can create ideas, all this stuff, not needed to talk too much about these basic aspects, as you know this from other lists, of course, as well. So let's focus on what we actually can do here. So idea management, of course, the goal is here to gather a lot of good ideas in the organization, and these ideas then are developed over time, and at one point in time, there comes a decision if we want to do it or not. If I click on maybe one of the ideas here, we see a side pane coming in from the right, and this is for all the modules the same, let's say, technology used here, from where we can enter the data for the ideas. So for this idea, it's already, let's say, an idea that is already decided on. We see a lot of data in there. The attributes that are listed here, and that counts also for every module, is highly flexible. Here, the Lego bricks that Christoph mentioned is coming into play, so it's quite easy to adjust it to your needs. And there's no real coding development needed, thanks to the low-code technology. We see here information like the name, the face, the ideas in free text fields, and at the bottom, for example, we also see some cost information, a first estimation maybe of the budget that might be needed to implement this idea. On the second side pane, we have here on the second page of the side pane, we have here an assessment that you can do for all the ideas based on strategic goals in your organization. Here we have 4 examples of strategic goals. Of course, they might look differently in your organization. For example, we want to expand into new markets, and the question is, how strong does this particular idea support this strategic goal? We can assess all these goals for this idea, and what you see in the background is actually the pie charts, which are showing the stronger they support the goal, the more blue the pie chart becomes. Okay, so once we have an idea that is so far progressed in the life cycle that we have approved it, you get the opportunity to convert it into a project. This is normally an action that is with the project management office. Once decision was taken by the management, we get a button here in the side pane which tells me make this a project, and here I can choose between different types of projects based on the question which type I'm having here. For example, I could have a product development project or an HR project, an IT project. In this case, we distinguish between agile and classic project. And by confirming to convert this to a project, a workflow is triggered. We are using a Power Automate workflow that is actually then creating a new Microsoft team for this particular project, and also a project schedule will be created, maybe based on a template with predefined phases and tasks already in. And also we can provide within the Microsoft project team that is being created, we can provide documents, templates, a folder structure, so that the project team can immediately start and does not need to start from scratch. Okay, so last but not least, it's important to analyze the landscape of ideas. For this, we have embedded a report. We are using Power BI for all the reports that are embedded in PlainPPM. In this case, we see here a report for all our ideas. And we have at the top, and we are following this design in all the reports, we have at the top some filters that you can use to only show maybe all the ideas from IT department or whatsoever. Then in the middle layer, we see on the left a funnel. It should look like a funnel based on the demo data. It's not exactly a funnel here, but we see all the ideas based on their life cycle status. For example, if I want to filter for only the approved ones, I can click on it, and this then filters me interactively the report to only the 3 ideas that are in the life cycle stage approved. And on the right-hand side, we have a bubble chart. There we see all the ideas. On the x-axis, the budget that is expected. On the y-axis, the support of the strategic goals. So the more to the top, upper on the chart the ideas are, the more they support our strategic goals, and the farther to the right they are, the more expensive they are. And of course, we have the details then down below in the table. So I provided a bit more detail about the Power BI report. In this case, we see some others as well, but as we do not have the time to see each and every feature, of course, just to let you know, there are much more, but we don't go into the details of each of these. Okay, so let's assume we have an idea, we approved it, we converted it to a project, and now we get to the second module, which is the projects module. Here we see line by line, one project is represented here by one line, and we see the data that is listed here. For example, the KPIs, the traffic lights for cost, quality, and schedule status. We see data like start date, finish date, and % completion. And here it's first time that we see this data like % completion, which comes directly from the project schedule that was created once we converted the idea to a project. So the project manager has planned all the tasks, has started the execution of the task, and this is actually the current status that we see here in our multi-project view for all the projects. If we click also here on one of these projects as an example, you will see the site pane coming in. Some of the data that we see here was transferred from the idea phase into the project phase, so we don't have to double efforts to enter this data. Other data only becomes relevant now as the idea became a project. And for example, in the planning page of the site pane, we see data mainly coming from the project schedule, like the overall effort of the project, the start and finish date, and the duration, things like this. We also see here again a bit more detailed the cost that you can use, the cost functionality that you can use in PlainPPM. So here we have, based on a standard rate that is multiplied with the hours of work in the project schedule, we can calculate the planned and the actual cost for the operational work. And we also have the opportunity to show investment cost, so cash out that we need to foresee while execution of our project. And on the third page, we have a status functionality. So here the project manager can set the status for the 3 traffic lights and give a comment. So normally the idea here is that the project managers should every 2 weeks or once per month, for example, should make sure they have updated not only their project schedule, but also the status here, so that we have an up-to-date status, let's say, also in the multi-project view here. Okay, so here we have 3 reports embedded. Just quickly, we have here one report that is, let's say, more visualized in a roadmap way, so less data, more graphics, where we see at the bottom the list of projects and the timeline of the projects, also the progress of the projects and the current date. We have the usual filters that you can use to filter for only the projects that are currently running, for example, etc. Then we have another report, which is called the portfolio report. This is a report that shows much more data. Here, for example, you can filter interactively to only show the projects which are for a certain portfolio on the left-hand side in the donut chart, or only show to the projects which are in a certain phase in the pie chart on the right. And what is also very nice here, I think, is in the middle, the bar chart. This is a chart that is comparing the cost, the budget as it was estimated at the beginning in the green bar, and in the blue bar, the current forecast based on the status that is reflected in the project schedule, and in yellow, the actual cost, how much of the cost is already, let's say, booked in the systems. And easy comparison here how the cost status is. And of course, at the bottom we have traffic lights and details. So no, all good. So last but not least, here we have the risk report. So we have a risk management module. Not sure how much time we will have later on to show this, but at least you have seen here already a report that is summarizing all the risks coming bottom up from all the projects. So the project team, the project manager, is defining the risk for their project, defining mitigation actions to mitigate these risks. And we have here the opportunity to have an overview of maybe the most critical risks, the projects which have the most risks, to really be able to focus on the most critical aspects in our project portfolio. Of course, the heat map we don't want to miss to the right, where we can easily identify the high risk projects, the high risk, let's say, in the upper right corner in the red area. Good. So that was the multi-project view here. And now we switch over to the single project view. And for this, I hand over to Christoph.
Thank you. So basically what I do, I go back to the multi-project overview here, and I can now, by clicking on the name, jump down to the respective MS Teams for this project. And now we're gonna start showing you how the project manager would work, because he or she, they have their own basically private space where planning and execution can be pursued. So we jump directly here to the teams of artificial intelligence, and we jump directly to the timeline. Meaning now what you see here is basically a project for the web, or now Planner Premium, as most of you will know. And I'm just gonna extend the view. And what you have here, just for a quick overview, this is the new MS project. Many of you will know the legacy tool, and it works in a very similar manner, but it's much lighter, much easier to handle. So here we have the work breakdown structure. Here I can add all my tasks. I bring them into an order. I can bring them into a hierarchy with summary tasks. Then I can estimate all the efforts in my project and add some dependencies. And finally, what I do is adding the resources for resource assignments, who will do each task for my project. Next, besides the work breakdown structure, we have a board view, which is a Kanban, which can be filtered for many different purposes. For example, like here, according to phases, you can do a sprint planning, or you can show directly who's responsible for each task. I'm sorry, I just saw the project is in German, but I think the tool is self-explaining. And last but not least, here we have the Gantt chart. So if I go in here, you always see the same tasks as in the work breakdown structure, in a Kanban board, and here in the Gantt chart. And here you can dynamically also change the details of each task, or assign it, or attach attachments within your MS Teams. So this is a very nice feature. For example, if I want to attach data, I can directly access the corresponding SharePoint in my MS Teams, so I can link the project task to my file structure. Okay, this is standard Microsoft tool. During the planning on execution of projects, I also have the possibility to have a project cockpit, meaning that Adrian showed you the multi-project view of things, and here you see a view which is basically focused on the needs of the project manager. Here I see everything which is concerning one single project. So I have the project information, once again in English, I have the planning information, and I have the status information. And you see the side pane looks the same as on the multi-project layer, because what we want to assure is, by setting standards, we want to make collaboration and discussions much easier than in the past. So what else can we do here? We can set up dependencies between different projects. So basically, I can link my project to another project, and when the dates collide, the project turns red, or when the dependency is possible or feasible, then it turns green. It's a soft connection between projects. Very important and very fundamental is the resource management. So basically what you saw before was I planned the timeline and assigned resources. So whenever you assign a resource to a task, in PlainPPM or Project for the Web, the resource will appear here. So basically this at the beginning empty screen is in the end the overview of your project team. And each resource comes with 3 different dates, lines representing data. You have the planning data. This comes directly from my schedule. Then you have the resource reservation or resource booking, which is provided by the line management. And you have the actual efforts, which are basically entered by progress or by or through a time reporting engine. So when my planning is done, when I'm happy with my planning, I would go here and I would set each resource to requested. This is the start of my resource management. And by requesting a resource, I can send it now, and that will provide a notification to the corresponding line manager saying that I, Christoph, requested a resource efforts for Adrian Adam over a respective period or over a defined period of time, and I want to have confirmation that I can have the resource. That's how it works for each and every resource. Furthermore, because nothing is black and white, I can also enter some additional context to give a reason how important is the resource. Are there any alternatives? Could I postpone my project? Could I extend the duration of my project? So here basically I can chat with the corresponding line manager. Okay, let's go one step further. We also have a cost overview showing you the time-phased cost over the project duration, and we compare budget cost from the project idea with planned cost and actuals. And as Adrian said before, the operational cost comes from the resource consumption from the work, and we have also investment costs which can be directly entered here by the project manager. And okay, then if you want to do hybrid or agile projects, we also offer a Scrum methodology, offering you a backlog, a sprint planning capabilities, and sprint capabilities. And this is also partly provided by PlainPPM, but for example, when it comes to dependencies, here you can enter dependencies between different elements in your Kanban board. So if I go here on this epic, I can see directly which features belong to this epic, and then from a feature perspective, I can always see the parent-child relationships between elements. Okay, so last but not least, just for you to see it, this is our single project risk management module. Adrian already explained it on the multi-project layer. So basically here I add risks and corresponding countermeasures for my project. So I would say that's it. And I hand back over to Adrian.
Okay, so thanks for giving us an overview of the single project view of PlainPPM. So as we have seen, Christoph had planned tasks and also has allocated people to these tasks and sent out resource requests. So the normal process between the project and the line management, where the project has the demand and the line managers have the capacity in their team. Now let's take the perspective of the line manager. So I received a notification from that project from Christoph that he needs some people in his project. I'm now logged in the resource module, and what you can see in the background is actually my team. So the view here is limited to see only that I can only see my team. And I want first to filter for only the people that currently have open requests. Sorry, Christoph, you were already there, but here we can filter for only the requested. Maybe we can switch back to English briefly. And so now I see my team and only the people that are currently having open requests. So that are the ones where I have a task as their line manager. And now I have the opportunity to dig a bit deeper into what the project actually had planned. So I have the opportunity to click on the project plan to open up a report that shows to me what the project managers have currently planned in their projects. And so here, everything, all the data that you see here in this report is, and also in the background, is based on percentage capacity that is needed. And for example, if I open up one guy here, I think Alan has maybe, no, in the report, I mean.
Oh, okay.
So I want to see what is planned for Alan de Young. He's planned in the project called pre-sales automation. So in 2024, they need him for 10%, let's say 8%, 10%. Okay, that should be feasible. But I know that not only Alan de Young can do this task. So probably I look at 2-3 options in my team, and then let's see. So I can close the report here maybe for the moment. And to briefly explain the view that you see here, this colorful view, I already mentioned that line by line, we see the people of my team. And I see in the columns to the right, I see per each month their capacity, because not every resource works 100% full-time, let's say. And I see in the colored column for that particular month, I see in red, green, or yellow how much of their capacity is already reserved and granted to other projects. So that means I'm now looking for someone that has time of 10%. Therefore, I need someone who is not already fully booked in red, but who has some room left. So let's tick mark a few of them. I picked here three people, and I now can click on the booking button where I then can actually do the reservation for that project. So I already checked, we need someone for 10%. So Deborah Berger, I see here. And for Deborah Berger in the bar chart at the bottom, I see for each month in gray the capacity, and in the colored bar, I see how much is already reserved for her and for which project. So she seems to be fully booked, sometimes overbooked even. So let's check maybe Alan de Young. How it looks for him. So he is also booked for some projects already, for 2 projects, but there's still some capacity left. So he would be the guy I would like to grant for that project. I pick the project, the pre-sales automation project. It's marked here in the drop-down in blue, meaning it has open request. I select it, and then I can choose here, let's say 10% for the first 2 months or something like this. And maybe I want to look at the comments that I received or that I want to give. So here I have the possibility to directly get in touch and in contact with the person that has requested the resource. And this goes in both ways. So the project manager can add comments here from his side, and I can add comments here from my line management side. And then I confirm everything with book this resource. Okay, so and with this, now also the single project view is updated, where we would then, as a project manager, see how much I got granted, and then I can adjust my planning in the project schedule so that this matches and I do not over allocate the people. I know we are running out of time probably, this from the line management perspective, Christoph, I think there are 2-3 other features you wanted to show as well.
Could we shortly go to the report? That would be, I think, very
okay. So resource management report. Okay, let's take a minute. So of course, all the data is in the system, the capacity of the resources, the allocation, the need, the demand from the projects, and so on. Of course, we can bring all this together in the resource management report. And I think what we all have in mind when we talk about a resource management report is mainly the bar chart that we see here in the middle of the report, where we see the green bars compared to the black bars. This is actually the assignment in the project in green and the reservation in black, what I as a line manager have granted to the project. And wherever we have a difference between the green and the black bar, of course, there is a need to talk to each other, because either I have planned in too much from a project side, as we can see here in August, the green bar goes quite high, much higher than what was reserved. So the project manager would need to send another request Or the other way around, I have maybe reserved too much and the project is not needing that much anymore, and then that person could probably support another project.
Okay.
Good.
So I take over again. Thank you, Adrian. So in order to basically close the loop of the project lifecycle, we've seen idea management, multi-project, single project management. Now this is the MyPM page dedicated to each and every resource which uses PlainPPM. And here I see on one page all the tasks, all the projects, and all the tasks within the projects where I'm assigned to. And I have some data like start and finish date. I know what kind of task it is. Is it agile or is it a standard project tasks? And I see schedule-wise how quickly I should come here. I should finish the corresponding task. Next to my work, we have the My Time feature. Not every customer is entering real hours or actual hours. So we have two different possibilities. One is we just treat percentage complete as the progress driver for a project, or alternatively, we can enter basically actual hours per project and task, and then provide also a comment, and this will automatically update the actual hours for the project manager. And I think this is where I would hand over back to Adrian.
Okay, so this to give you a brief overview of what PlainPPM can support. So we were aiming for a solution that is easy to use, that is fully based on Microsoft 365 standards. So there are no add-ons, no hidden whatever code or something. Everything is accessible once the solution is deployed in your client. It's fully open and of course robust and release proof, let's say, because we are really sticking to whatever the standard is coming from Microsoft. We have not maybe seen each and every feature in all the details, but whenever you like, of course, we can do a follow-up and dig deeper into the functionality. We have a slide left that is about the question of licensing. And maybe Christoph, while you are open up the slide, I can answer one question that I've seen about boundaries and limitations. There was a question that when I do the task planning, that there's a limit for the amount of people that I can assign to a task. There are limits, but for sure it's more than 11. I think it's for the normal planner, it's 20. We are using here project for the web, so Planner Premium. At the moment, a renaming and a branding, let's say, is happening from Microsoft side regarding the functionality of project for the web, which becomes Planner Premium, and a lot of changes are going on with this. So it's as a minimum, it's 20 people per task that you can allocate, but more and more changes are coming. For example, they just raised the limit of number of tasks in your project schedule from 1,000 to 1,500. So a lot is happening, and that's good to know also for us, where we base PlainPPM on Planner Premium and project for the web, to know that Microsoft is heavily investing also and making the solution even better. Okay, so licenses. So the question is, we have seen various technologies. We have seen Power Apps that we use to build PlainPPM. We have seen embedded Power BI reports. We have seen the project scheduling happening in Planner Premium. So some of our clients, they do all have all these technologies already in place. As a minimum, I would say, as an organization, you should have in place already Microsoft or Office 365 with Teams and so on. What you need then on top depends a bit on the role that the person has using PlainPPM. So for example, a normal team member that collaborates with the project team does not need all the licenses, but would need access to PlainPPM, of course, where then the license for Power Apps is needed and the usage fee for PlainPPM Basic. Of course, other users like the PMO or the management or even the project management, the project manager especially, maybe we go to that slide, they need all the technology that we have seen. They want to plan their project schedule and all the tasks, so they need the Planner Plan 1 license. Probably they want to see some Power BI reports as well. For example, the single project report or the risk report. For that, they need Power BI Pro, Power Apps, and PlainPPM Pro are coming on top here. Still, we see the price here. Still, the price is less than the price that was formerly charged by Microsoft for the license that you wanted to use for Project Online. So, and for the other stakeholders like the management, PMO, and so on, it only gets cheaper. So I think it's a good deal, and especially if you have, for example, Microsoft 365 E5 or Office 365 E5 already present in your organization, then it's even better because then you have Power BI Pro already included. So of course, we would need to look at the details in your organization, but also to give, let's say, an overview about this one.
And perhaps just as an idea, when it comes to Power Apps and Power BI and Power Automate, those are technology licenses. They're not limited to PlainPPM, but you can use those licenses for other applications and use cases as well.
Okay, so now we have time for questions. We have 3 minutes left, but if you have more time, then we also do have more time. So for sure, we can stay a bit longer if there are more questions. Let me start already to answer some of the questions that I've seen that are maybe not yet fully answered. So there was a question for integration. And this is something that a question that we have quite often, because in the project management tool, of course, we are using information that is also used by other systems. For example, cost information we are using. We want to stay within our budget with our project, and cost information normally is in the ERP system in SAP or alike. So there are, of course, possibilities to integrate between these two systems. And normally with PlainPPM, it's quite easy because all the data, everything, is just in one database called Dataverse, the standard database from Microsoft for Power Apps. And there are various connectors, standard connectors that can be used to either get data from this database or to push data into the database. So we implemented that already based on web services, integration with ERP systems or third-party systems. So that's for sure a way to go. Then permission management was another question. We had not really talked about it so far, but PlainPPM comes with the permission management, with the role-based permission management, meaning you can control which user group can see what data. For example, the management sees all the ideas. The idea initiator only sees the ideas that the initiator has created himself or herself. So if you want to have it like this, can be configured. We see it here on the screen. We have in the columns the user groups, and in the rows we have the various permissions that you can set. And with this, normally it's possible to cover, let's say, 95% of the use cases where you want to restrict some users or user groups to only see the data that is relevant to them. Good. Else, what I can just emphasize again is that the low-code technology is really a nice thing here because it makes the solution so flexible. We have clients that got the solution installed on their environment, and since then, because they have the knowledge of Power Apps, they further develop the solution themselves. Of course, we are happy to serve you with future changes and support and so on. But just to mention this again, it's an easy technology. It's not from scratch programming, so you can implement changes quite fast and with low cost. And you can do that even on your own. Also, reports are very good for that. So whenever you want to have some updates for your reports and you have Power BI know-how, then just go for it. That's absolutely no problem. There's no necessary dependency to us as the partner here. Okay, so I think we covered most of the questions, or all of the questions actually. Let me briefly check. Integration with Microsoft Project. You can import Microsoft Project schedules into Planner Premium. So that's a possibility, one option for an integration. In case you already have existing teams for projects that are already running, there would be an option to integrate them afterwards. So that means PlainPPM does not create a new team, but we would set the link to the already existing team. This is normally something that happens in the implementation project itself, and the task that we are doing there to identify what is already existing and to that you do not need to create new teams, of course, that are already in progress and heavily used. Prices we talked about. And then it was a question about reservation of resources for daily business, I guess probably administrative tasks and so on. One option is here to simply lower the capacity of the resources in the system, to only reflect in the PM tool the capacity of the resources that is really can be used for project management work, but we have other options as well. Also, a question that we get quite often, we can also create, let's say, buckets where you can then book hours on or allocate people to for such administrative tasks. That's also an option. Okay, Tim, did I miss anything? You were helping us with the questions in the background. But I think
we got one new question about P6 Primavera data. I'm not sure what is that exactly.
No, that's out of the Microsoft space, let's say. Of course, you can integrate with Primavera over some standard connectors, and as usual, as you can do always between two database-based systems, you can integrate, but there's no out-of-the-box functionality that allows you to work with the data with Primavera.
And a new question regarding support of Copilot.
Yeah, Copilot, you automatically can benefit from the Copilot functionality as it's embedded by Microsoft themselves automatically. For example, in Planner Premium, one of the new features coming very soon is that you have Copilot available in Planner Premium, meaning you can ask Copilot a question to set up an initial project plan for your new product development project. And Copilot will predefine and create already the standard phases and tasks for you. There are other use cases as well. And also, of course, you have Copilot then available from Teams or in Power BI. It's also available. So you get this out of the box already simply because Microsoft is adding it to the base technology that we are using here. And there was one question about the report, the size of circles to what they correspond in the dashboard view. I think this is maybe about the idea report where we have the bubble chart. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe it's the right thing. The size of the bubbles in the report is the estimated effort that is needed to execute this idea in the later project. So there's an amount of hours that you can enter a first guess of how much work is needed to implement that idea. I hope I interpreted it correctly. Okay. Good. So then if there are no more questions, then I would say thanks a lot for joining. We would be happy to see you again in a follow-up session. Please always reach out to us. You will find the contact details also in the handout that we will provide to you. And we would be happy to talk about your particular use case in your organization and your requirements more in detail. or to provide you with more information about the one or the other feature of PlainPPM. So for the moment, I would say thank you for joining, and see you soon.
Yeah, many thanks, and have a great day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.